I'm going to be reading a very short essay, but I don't even know if this actually qualifies as an essay. I kind of wrote it. I think it's an essay. It's a presentation, definitely. But anyways, let's get down to business. I wrote it today. Today is March 14th, the year 2012. Day, Wednesday. Transforming Genocide to Reality. You can find it on my blog Soul Rays on Blogger. I am going to devote my blog and voice to presenting information regarding genocide and the connection between genocidal activities and thought patterns and the historic as well as current black experience as dictated by powerful Western forces and resulting in reoccurring travesties at higher rates of death in all black communities than these Western forces have assumed legal authority over. The West's historically white, consisting of power elite organization, has demonstrated a track record of excluding humans with darker complexions and indigenous traditions, creating an ongoing situation over centuries that deprive its victims of genuine opportunities to improve living conditions and reduce violence. Violence being a condition fueled by scientifically documented developmental circumstances that are often the result of policies these Western forces implement to provide what is called aid. The U.S. also using the term entitlements or welfare. I'm not familiar with any other terms that could be used in any other Western societies. These programs entrench developmental circumstances that inhibit proper human brain development in children who unknowingly live life and raise children without addressing the ramifications of their own development that result in certain behavioral patterns becoming traditional or cultural practices that come to define the identity of individuals within the target sections of the human species. These traditions and cultural practices have intense influence on the majority of these groups. This effect in turn allows Western genocidal power elites to further implement policies of aid that are politically designed to produce immediate statistical data that inevitably declines but produces negative hope, passive acceptance of gradual change. See the Emancipation Proclamation and its aftermath. See the patricians of the dominant class of Rome designed the idea of offering the dominated class, plebeians, senators, as a means of improving their status in Roman society, a tactic that provided the dominant patricians generations of docile, yet hopeful, plebeians who lost the fight when Rome collapsed, with the plebeian population filling the same role for over 500 years. See desegregation and or integration policies and the effects on independent black businesses and the human trauma of a false notion of equality in the midst of institutional obstacles that clearly stated otherwise or state. See the Voting Act of 1963 in the U.S., followed by the election of an American African president, and the increased passivity in the black community that traditionally was a source of calculated critique of U.S. injustices. Slavery, segregation, desecration, poll taxes, war policies, lynching, the policy of poverty, etc., etc. All issues that the dominant white class were willing to leave to political solutions at the expense of the lives and mental security of their fellow human citizens that the dominant class designated as black in order to distinguish the white experience from the black. Thus, this is a tactic of self-preservation of the dominant class to emphatically state, essentially, quote, "We do not get treated like those of that group. Please note the distinct differences and try to treat them like us as soon as possible, but don't interrupt our current lifestyles too abruptly." Close quote. Basically, theoretically. This seemingly passivity of the dominant majority has the like effect of those experiences of blacks that reinforce their inferiority. The dominant majority feel that since they are not antagonists of blatant hatred of said group, but recognizing the differences in experiences, logically calculate their own superiority as a natural phenomena they cannot help, only accept. As this ideology becomes deeper entrenched in the dominant class's child rearing, it too takes on forms of traditions and cultural practices, quotations, culture craft, close quotations, that allow it to become a self-preserving function of the said society. In the grand scheme, the effect of both groups' experiences on the development of human brains and behavior become a cycle in which it would appear the passivity or recklessness of the dominated reinforce the traditions of the dominators, and the common lifestyle of the dominators work indifferently to oppress the dominated, factualizing their inferiority. This is all sustained by a political system that, by definition, is inherently corrupt, lacking the ability to distinguish beneficial from destructive. Thus, the apparatus of oppression continues on, such as in Rome, for centuries, sustained by both the behavior of the dominated and the dominator. To be continued. Next, I hope to tackle or title my essay, The Role of Violence in Social Justice and Human Reform. Thank you for your time. I appreciate any compliments, feedback, and critiques.